the advantages of it after we tooled it up really became even more interesting because, originally the idea behind it was just being able to set the hook quickly. Like, this thing is holding my rod holder, it's secure. As soon as I get a strike, I'm able to pull up and set the hook.
Welcome to the Woman Angler and Adventurer podcast, inspiring real women with a passion for fishing and the outdoors to go get their adventure on. Now, here's your fearless host, Angie Scott.
Welcome to the Woman Angler and Adventurer podcast. This week's guests are a husband and wife team, Jason and Cari Begin. I first met Cari at last year's iCast, walking the floor in a total frenzy, trying to make sure I didn't miss anything, and I'm sure glad I did. As a pontoon angler, I've struggled to find a good rod holder that actually fit my rails properly. That's why I had to immediately stop and talk to her when I saw the Stealth Quick Release rod holders. Their universal rail mounts are designed to properly fit various size rails, and they'll work whether they're round or square. How brilliant. Then there's the quick release functionality of the rod holder itself. I can't wait for you to hear how Jason came up with this design. I just finished installing 3 brand new ones on my new Quest Splash Pad Tri-Tune, and I just got the trolling motor installed as well, so I'm super excited and so ready to go out and troll for some big striped bass on Percy Priest. The Stealth rod holders are also a super popular option among kayak anglers. So, in honor of this episode, I'm excited to say we're doing a special giveaway of the Stealth Kayak rail mount rod holder to one lucky winner. To enter, all you gotta do is go to the show notes for this episode, which can be found at thewomanangler.com/139, and click on the giveaway link to enter. In addition to that, we're offering a 25% discount on your first order for all Woman Angler and Adventurer podcast listeners. So just go to their website, stealthrodholders.com. Use the coupon code WOMANANGLER25. That's all lowercase, WOMANANGLER25. They also offer free shipping on orders of $50. So now is definitely your chance to get yourself outfitted with the best rod holders you're ever going to find. All right, let's get into our conversation. Cari and Jason with Stealth Rod Holders. Welcome to the Woman Angler and Adventurer podcast. I first met Cari at iCast in 2019, and I saw the product in person, and immediately the rod holders, and immediately I was like, "This is genius." It just makes so much sense.
Well, thanks for having us. We're excited to talk to you.
Yeah, so I wanted to, before we start talking more about the product, I just wanted to find out, like, your story. How did you come about creating it and starting Stealth?
Well, it's a very long story, so we'll give you the shorter condensed version. Yeah. Jason is a product designer by trade and is also, kind of has that inventor mindset. And so this was one of many ideas, and one of the ones that I let through the floodgates. Usually I'm the one that starts and stops, like, no, we're not doing that, or okay, maybe we'll try this one out. So yeah, we kind of decided to let this one play out.
Yeah. So in my product design career, I was fortunate to work for Brunswick Boat Group back in the day, and I had the opportunity to work on a rod holder, and the problem struck me because it has to do 2 things really well, but they're really opposite things. Like, it needs to, when you put your rod in it, you need to trust that it's going to be safe and stay there. But man, when you get a fish on, a lot of the mechanisms and things that are traditionally used in rod holders to keep your gear safe, they work against you, in terms of setting the hook. And so, like the rotating locking collar and things like that. And so there are a lot of workarounds with that. But I was like, man, if there was ever like something that could just grip it, that'd be awesome. But I honestly couldn't figure it out. And then, years later, I actually saw the mechanism as part of like a garage system to hold your rakes and things on the wall in the garage. And I was like, that's it. That would work. And I wasn't looking to solve the rod holder problem, but I was like, man. And so I literally took one of those and I bolted it on to the front of a rod holder, and it just worked. Nice. And And so Cari and I were like, what do we do with this? Because we're just regular people. Like, we don't have a ton of money to go out and tool up all of the little parts and pieces that are needed to make, a system of rod holders. And so we sat on it for
5 or 6 years.
Yeah, about 5 years.
In Jason's workshop, just sat there, and we would walk by and we're like, we really should probably do something with this.
This is so cool. And then, so then, fast forward, kind of conditions became right for us. I ended up starting a small design firm, and I had a client that encouraged me, and we ended up going for it. And so we've been doing it for about 5 years now. When we had our first model, we just had the QR1 with the multi-mount. We started taking it to outdoor shows. Yeah,
the fishing show, just the local, we're in the Atlanta area. So anything that we could drive to on a weekend, pack the kids in the car. And we had our own like little booth set up that we kind of just made in, the workshop, and
a true family business.
Yeah. Yes. We had, the kids were working the booth with us.
Yeah.
And and at the time they were
little.
Like 6 and 8 or something like that. And 2 boys who like to run everywhere. So that was interesting.
But what we found out working these shows is, number one, is the idea really resonated with anglers, and then, and it works, in a lot of different scenarios. But also people were like, hey, how do I mount it to a pontoon? How do I mount it to my canoe? I need a bigger one. I need an extension. And Cari and I realized, like, oh my gosh, we really have dug ourselves a hole here, because we need a lot of extra parts and pieces. And so, thankfully we designed it so that our system is compatible with Scotty, which is a really popular brand.
Right.
And people don't like to drill holes in their boat. And so anytime you can give them the ability to use a mount that they already have, or to kind of fit up with holes they may have already drilled, we did that. And so, that's helped us as well, because in the beginning, when we didn't have all of the different mounts and attachments, we were able to say, well, if you have these other systems, it'll work.
Right.
And so it's just been a journey since then, as we've been kind of figuring out, like, where do we want to go next? What do we want to build? And, thankfully now our system is a little bit bigger. We've got the QR1, which is kind of for anything that's got a rod handle that's like an inch or lower. So if you're using like a regular ugly stick or something like that, but then you also go down to like ultralight rods or like crappie or perch, the QR1 is the one that you like. But then you also have people that are going out, they're going for striper or muskie, and they want the bigger diameter. And so that's where the QR2 comes in. It's a little bit bigger. And it's just,
and we started having a lot of people who were, fishing offshore asking questions, and they wanted things that were, well, we've had, guys in kayaks talking about, I got the shark on, and I was like, you got a shark? And you're in, and like, then they send me video of like their kayak being pulled by a shark, and they're like, will your rod holder hold that? I'm like, I'm not sure. Like,
yeah.
So we said, that's kind of how we came up with the QR2. We just, needed something with a little extra, strength, and,
so we've
and for the rods too.
Yeah. Well, we've never had a rod holder break that we know of, but, one thing that has surprised us is, while we designed these rod holders, they're made out of a glass reinforced composite, and they really are, I would say, overbuilt or built to last.
Mm-hmm.
But even with that, we've been surprised with things where, like the QR1, like we said, people will show us pictures of fish that they caught on it, or tell us stories, and we're like, you caught that on our rod holder? Like, it's really big. And that's pretty cool. I think Cari and I were talking about this morning, just about one of the things we love about, this business is just the angler community. People, we're so proud to be a part of it, because we've just been accepted with open arms, and it's just really great people. It's fun.
Yeah. People love to talk about their fish stories, for sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So were either of you into fishing before you got into all this?
Like, not as much as probably the people that we, our customers.
Mm-hmm.
We fish, just off the bank. We live by the Chattahoochee, and so off the bank, and we have a boat, and so we just, but it's not. We don't technically know what we're doing. Let's just put it that way.
The polite way is, yeah, we don't know what we're doing. So like we fish. I wouldn't say we do a lot of catching.
Yeah. I don't think most people know what they're doing. We just all are trying to figure it out.
Yeah, we're definitely water people. I grew up in Michigan around the Great Lakes and stuff. And so we've always had boats and been on the water. And so that's part of our life and our lifestyle.
Yeah.
So it was kind of it's a natural, fit.
Yeah.
So in my life, I've, thought I've come up with some ideas. I'm like, oh yeah, this is a great idea. And then I don't do anything about it. And then the next thing I know, somebody else has done it. So for 5 years, you're pretty lucky that like no one else came up with that.
Yeah. I've had that same experience. Like Cari said, I'm the guy that I'm like, what we should do. And she's like, oh, okay. I get the eye roll. And, we are lucky. And,
well, mostly you find he'll have an idea and we'll talk about it, and then we'll get on a plane and you get the flight, the Sky Mall magazine, and we open it up and he's like, there it is. Somebody took my idea. It's always in the Sky Mall. I don't know why it's always in the Sky Mall.
I miss the Sky Mall magazine.
I know, right?
I haven't flown in so long now. It was like before I was flying all the time, and now. So aside from the quick release functionality, which is just brilliant, but I love one of the things I love the most is I had the biggest issue, cause I fish from a pontoon, and you mentioned this, but I had the biggest issue of finding one that actually fit my pontoon rails. So this last one I had before I discovered Stealth, I had to like get some foam or something to put around the mount when I put it on my rail to make it fit. Otherwise it was too big. And so, and then the universal rail mount is just brilliant because you can mount it on a round rail or a square rail. That's so cool.
Thanks. The inspiration for that was, like if you had a BMX bike when you were a little kid, if you remember I think it's called a gooseneck, but like where the handlebar attaches to the frame, that little clamping block that's there. I was like, why wouldn't that work? And then the idea that you would be able to rotate it to be round or square. I thought that was pretty unique because as you look around the industry, some of our competitors have 3 or 4 different, products in order to try to, adapt to different types of scenarios. And we were like, wow, this can kind of do most of it in one. And if I'm totally honest, it was really born of our little business and being like, we can't tool up 5 different mounts. We're like, we need to figure out clever solutions that will be, good for our customers, but also, affordable for us to be able to actually make.
Yeah. And keeping our SKU count down a little bit because I manage all of the inventory and, just the day to day is kind of my end of it. And so, every time Jason's pitching me ideas, it's, okay, how many SKUs, how many parts, how many different questions are going to arise from this. So it's really, it's kind of a nice partnership in that too, because, Jason's the idea guy and we'll throw all this stuff out and I'm the one like looking for all of the things that are going to go wrong and like try to take, so.
And I would say we don't want to be, like people ask us, like, where do you want Stealth to go? And we don't really know, but one thing we do know is we don't want to be a commodity. Like we could go to China and buy a bunch of off the shelf, parts that you could buy elsewhere, but just have a lineup and have a catalog of stuff that you can buy from Stealth. But that's not really who we want to be. I think our thing is if we're going to spend the time to put something on the market, we want it to be innovative and new, and we want it to be a better solution than what is out there. And so we don't have as many SKUs as some other companies, but we continue to add. And as we've been growing, we just are blessed that we're able to like reinvest all of our money that Stealth makes back into the business. And so it's starting to compound, but we're only doing things that are going to be meaningful. We're not just throwing stuff out there.
There's definitely no shortage of ideas. Yeah. And that's, the great thing too of being, so close to our customer base. People are always amazed, like, oh, you answered your phone? Wow. Or you messaged me back on Facebook so quickly. But that's part of how we're learning about what our customers need and want and what works with the products and what doesn't. I mean, people are constantly sending us ideas something that a customer will come up with to fix something. They're like, I've been doing this, it doesn't really work, but could you come up with an idea? And that's how some of our additional mounts and extensions kind of came to be, from
our
feedback from our customers.
Nice.
And I would say too, that's one of we would consider an advantage. We're a small company. We had to it's just Cari. If you call Stealth, you're going to get one of us. And we have the ability to do the right thing. We don't answer to a board or some big company or anything. If somebody, we hope that nobody has issues with our products, but if that ever happens, they just call us. And I think people are surprised when we're like, oh, well, we'll just send you a new rod holder, or we'll fix that for you. And they're like, what? People who will they kind of call expecting a fight, and we're like, no. We want to make sure that you're happy. And, that's just unfortunately uncommon nowadays.
Yeah.
And you have a lifetime guarantee on your products as well, right?
We do.
Yeah.
We're trying to, fishing is one of those areas where a lot of people were like, hey, my dad used this, my grandfather used this, or my mom, and sometimes when they see something new, it's like, well, there can be some skepticism. So we're just trying to reduce those barriers. We know that when people try our product, they really love it. But barriers to trying it would be I don't want to drill new holes in my boat. So that's, where, I already talked about that. But other things would be is this going to work? Is it going to break? Maybe I haven't heard of this brand. And so giving the lifetime guarantee gives people peace of mind that, hey, if I have an issue, these people are going to stand behind it. And then just our service is really built around the fact that we want to give you confidence that if you give us a try, that you're going to be satisfied. And if you're not, we'll make it right. But we've been fortunate that we haven't had a lot of that. So it's been good.
So let's talk about kayak angling, because that seems to be exploding right now. And just people, it's a cheaper or more inexpensive way to get into fishing. And especially now with the times that we're in and everybody's just looking for something to do, getting out on the water. So kayak angling is becoming a really, really popular thing to do. And so one of the first videos I saw on Stealth so I'm a fan of the Salt Strong brothers, Joe and Luke Simon. Yeah. And they did Joe did this unbiased review on Stealth rod holders, and it was so good. I assume you've seen it.
Yeah.
And so from what I remember, he was using one of the Kayak rod holders for that video. And it just makes so much sense for somebody who's kayak angling to use a Stealth rod holder. Can you talk a little bit about the kayak version?
Sure.
Well, first of all, those guys, Salt Strong is a cool brand, and I really admire those guys because they're another example of somebody who kind of set down their pens at their regular day job and kind of pursued their dream to be on the water. And so they've been kind to us with reviews and things like that. We're not really affiliated with them, but we're really thankful that they did a positive review on us. And
but when we launched Stealth, we have kayaks and we kayak, and we had rods out a couple of times, and okay, I got the paddle, I got the then I've got I'm trying to fish, and that was kind of part of, when we launched Stealth, it was kind of at that same time. And we thought this makes a lot of sense here. We didn't know that, the kayak anglers were going to grab onto Stealth as much as they did right in the beginning, but that really, they have been a huge part of getting us going and, spreading the word. And, the mount for the kayak, for the Stealth that's popular with the kayak anglers is the 2-point kayak rail mount, which fits in pretty much any track, that would be on the kayaks.
Yeah. So the advantages of our rod holder, we haven't really touched on, but this grip system, like I said, it was born of this idea of marrying the garage thing with the rod holder, but the advantages of it after we tooled it up really became even more interesting because, originally the idea behind it was just being able to set the hook quickly. This thing is holding my rod holder. It's secure. As soon as I get a strike, I'm able to pull up and set the hook. But traditional rod holders have the reel. You have to actually bring it back into the rod holder and put the spinning or the casting reel into the cradle so that it's behind whatever the locking collar mechanism is in order to hold it. And one of the things that we found right away with ours is that you don't have to do that because it's gripping the handle. So you can actually have, if you have a longer handle rod, you can actually put the rear end of the handle into the rod holder, and your whole casting or spinning reel setup can be hanging out the front of the rod holder, which seems a little bit maybe dangerous in the beginning, but it's not, because it's got such a good grip on it. And the cool part about that is that when you go to grab your rod in order to set the hook, you're not only able to pull it out of the rod holder quickly, but you're also, almost even more importantly, you're grabbing the rod in the fighting position, like you're grabbing it the way that you would want to hold it. And so not being bound by having to have the reel positioned in a certain area in order to keep your gear safe has turned out to be a real advantage, especially in the kayak, because in the kayak, as Cari mentioned, you got a lot of things going on. There are a lot of things that are kind of demanding your hands. And so the ability to kind of use it as almost like a third hand, just pop it in, set it. If you want to make some adjustments, pop it out really fast, reel in a little bit. But, usually you're back on the paddle, or you want to,
well, there's also not a lot of space in the kayak, right? And if you have to pull your, rod in a little bit further, then the butt of it might be in the way. But with ours, it can, you can keep it outside of the kayak almost, but still it's secure.
Yeah, that's a good point. If you have a long handle rod and a traditional rod holder, that rod handle needs to be in your legs, because you're relying on that reel to be your stopper. And with ours, because it'll grip the end of the handle, you can have your rods extended further out, and it gives you a lot more cockpit space.
And it's also nice that you have access to actually reel if you needed to without taking it out of the rod holder first. So that can be an advantage as well.
Yeah, absolutely. The 2-point kayak rail mount, it's really sturdy and secure. Some of the 1-points, if you get a strike on the left side, it can kind of turn and pivot that. But with ours, there's no pivoting, there's no turning. It's just in solid state. And so it's, very secure in that point.
Yeah. One of the things we try to design into our products is just this really robust connection points. Like, you need connection points in order to be adjustable, in order to put your rod holder where you want it, and, have it pointed in the right direction and all of those things. Every boat is different, and every angler is different. And so everybody's going to want it their unique way. So, pivots and connections are important, but they also are, potentially weak points in the design. And so if you look at Stealth, all of our connection points are solid state. Like, everything they're larger in diameter than anything else out of the market. And they're also, like, once you lock it in position, it really locks down. And one of the things that's been frustrating for us is, like, some of our competitors have embraced, like, ball mounts, which are awesome from an adjustability perspective, but they tend to let you down when you need them. Like, vibration can cause them to kind of loosen, and kind of the thing will kind of drape over time. Or, if you get a big fish on, like, mechanically, there's not enough grip strength on a ball to be able to withstand, a strike from a big fish, unless the thing was, the diameter of a bowling ball or something ridiculous. And so,
which is not practical.
No, it's not.
And so, I would just encourage, like, if you look at all of our designs, it's just, everything is overbuilt because we don't want to let you down on the water.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so something exciting for our listeners, if you're listening to this episode, we're going to give away one of the kayak rod holders that we were just talking about. So, all you have to do to get entered is go to the show notes for this episode, which you can find on the website, thewomanangler.com/138. Click on the link for the Stealth rod holder giveaway, and you'll see how you'll be able to enter, and you can get multiple entries by sharing it on social media. So go check that out. And we also have a coupon code if you're not a kayak angler, or you want to go to the website and check it out and buy some other products as well. The coupon code is WomanAngler25, and that's all lowercase. So WomanAngler25 at checkout. It's going to give you 25% off any of those products on the website. What's the website address?
It is stealthrodholders.com.
Awesome. And you are in Bass Pro and Cabela's as well, right? So
we are. We're in, Bass Pro and Cabela's, and also online at Bass Pro and Cabela's. If you're up in the Midwest or, the northern part of the country and you like your local Scheels, we are in all of the Scheels stores.
Soon to be Sportsman's Warehouse.
Soon to be Sportsman's Warehouse, and many, many local, bait and tackle shops. Those are, some of our very favorites are working with those individual dealers as well. So if you like our products and it's not in your local bait and tackle, but you want it to be, then, encourage them to reach out to us for sure.
Yeah. Awesome. We're always here to help.
And you're on Facebook and Instagram, so we'll put links to all those in the show notes so people can follow you there. And anything big going on the rest, finishing out 2020 and going into 2021? Anything you got coming down the pike?
I mean, we had a few things, but many. We were really looking forward to 2020 ICAST, but unfortunately, that's all virtual. We were bummed. The boys were going to come with us this year, and Grandma, but that is not happening. So instead, we are launching some new products, and we're going to put our attention on that. So be on the lookout in 2021 for some new products that will be coming out from Stealth.
We've got some, like we said, we don't just launch stuff to have it, and we've got some pretty cool innovations.
We're excited.
Sweet.
And I would just encourage people, if they're interested in Stealth and they want to learn more, if you do go to our website, there's videos there that talk about the product, as well as if you kind of click on any of the individual products. We've got some videos featuring one of our pro staff, Erica Delana, that kind of demonstrates everything and shows you how it works.
Awesome. Well, you mentioned pro staff. I'm very honored to be among the pro staff crew, and everybody that you guys have on board is awesome. Like Captain Mac, which I still need to get out there and do some fishing with him sometime.
Yes, you do. He's great.
So, but, I hate that we have to wrap it up, but I want to thank you so much for taking the time to be on the Woman Angler and Adventurer podcast. And maybe we'll have you back on when you get some of those new products you're talking about launched, and we can talk about those as well.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Thanks, that would be great. Thank you so much. Awesome. We're honored to be with you.
Oh, thank you. All right, there you have it. Once you see and check out these Stealth rod holders, you're going to be hooked. Go to their website, stealthrodholders.com. Don't forget to use that coupon code to get 25% off your order, Woman Angler 25. That's all lowercase, Woman Angler 25. And don't forget to get in on the giveaway for the Kayak rod holder. So go to the website, thewomanangler.com/138. Click on the giveaway link and get entered. Good luck. See you next week. Link and get entered. Good luck. See you next week.